Okay, hey everybody, Chuck Holton here, and I'm in Larnaca in the island of Cyprus tonight. I was going to do a live, and we just don't have enough bandwidth to do that. Every place I've been here on this island, the best internet speeds you can get are like 3G speeds on your phone. Probably not good enough for a live. I was hoping that the Wi-Fi here at the hotel would be good enough. Their download speeds were sufficient, but upload speeds apparently not. So I just canceled the live that we were about to do, and I'm just going to do it I'm going to video it, and then I'm going to upload it so that you'll be able to hear my report. Now, I wanted to let you know, first of all, where I am. This is the port of Larnaca in Crete. I'm sorry, in Crete, in Cyprus. And Cyprus is the easternmost island in the Mediterranean. It's actually two countries, sort of, because back in the 1970s, the Turkish Cypriots rose up and fought against the Greek Cypriots, and with the help from Turkey, of course, they were able to take about almost half of the island. And so there's Turkish Cyprus and Greek Cyprus. I'm in Greek Cyprus now, the free part. You can actually cross, I guess, into Turkish Cyprus, but it's a hassle, difficult, and I'm not going anywhere where the Turks are in control because I've done a lot of negative reporting on them, and it's likely that they would make me disappear or something. They're really good at that. But anyway, this is the port of Cyprus back here, the port of Larnaca. This is actually the sort of marina for the smaller boats, and the port proper is over that way, which I'll try to show you here in a second. If I can reach out over there, I'll turn the camera around or something and show you that. But you can see back there, there's a big cruise ship. That's a Virgin Cruise Lines cruise ship. And there's some other ships that are waiting out there. Some of those ships probably have aid in them that's on its way to Rafah. Actually right over here is, let's see if I can, this might be a mistake, but I'll try to show you. Off over that direction is a very large ship. That's a U.S. Navy ship. It's called the USNS, get this for a ship name, the USNS Gunny Sergeant Frank W. Stockton. We have the iconic ship names, like the Guadalcanal and the Gerald Ford, and we've got some that are a little more easy to pronounce than others. This one is the USNS Gunny Sergeant Frank W. Stockton. And it's named after a Medal of Honor recipient from World War I. That's actually the second ship that's had his name. So I guess they're recycling it or something. I don't know how they picked ship names. It's a very large, basically a repurposed container ship. It's a cargo ship that was purchased by the Navy. It used to be a cargo ship. It was purchased by the Navy in 1997. It was refitted and everything, and then it's been put into service as the USNS Frank W. Stockton, Gunny Sergeant in there, since like 2001. And it's, as I said, very large container ship. It's called a roll-on, roll-off ship. It is obviously here because it's brought aid in from the United States, and they're now taking that aid from here and taking it across to the pier that they built that is connected to Gaza. And I was just doing some basic calculations today on how much that ship can actually hold. It can hold, if it was just packed to the gills with MREs, just meals ready to eat, it could hold about 16 million MREs. It could actually probably hold a lot more than that, but that's based on its cargo capacity. 16 million MREs would provide enough calories for everybody in Gaza for about 4 days. That's 2.5 million people. Their basic caloric needs, a little less than 2 MREs per person. And so 3.5, 4 days it could provide. And I just want you to get a sense for what that costs, okay? Because we're talking about a shipload of goods that was loaded up in the United States and brought over here. That's the cheap part. First, we have to make the stuff that we're putting on the ship. So whether we're growing wheat or rice or corn or beans or oil, making oil or whatever it is we're bringing over and sending into Gaza, it's got to be made and then bought by the U.S. federal government with your tax dollars. If they were just using MREs, those are more expensive, but they're more sort of packaged, easy to distribute, things like that. Even though the Gazans pretty much don't like them very much. And I can't say I blame them a whole lot. I mean, they certainly, beggars can't be choosers, and they should be grateful for whatever they can get. But if you've ever had to eat MREs for a long period of time, that can be a uncomfortable experience. They don't have a lot of empty calories in them, so you could go days and days without a bowel movement, for example. Although I guess the newer ones, they've now realized that and they've done something about it so that it's not quite so bad. But if they filled the ship with MREs and they brought it over here, to make the MREs would cost about $144 million. That's about 16 million MREs. Okay, $144 million just for that. Then we're talking about something like $15 million a day to keep this pipeline going. Probably more than that, but I'm being conservative with my numbers. So we spent $330 million building the pier that we put onto the shore, and one gigantic shipload from the United States cost American taxpayers $144 million to fill, and will feed the people in Rafah, in Gaza for all of 3.5 days. So obviously not a real encouraging number when you're the guy paying the taxes. Taxpayers in America should be livid over this, especially since there is already enough aid getting into Gaza from the land routes. But the Biden administration did this because it's a giant political theater. It's a showpiece for them to say, vote for me, look what we did for the Palestinians. Now, speaking of what happened to the Palestinians today, it has been, of course, the International Court of Justice came out several days ago and called for they called for a ceasefire in Rafah. They basically told the Israelis, you cannot enter Rafah if it will kill innocent civilians, if you'll be targeting innocent civilians. And Israel said, fine, we're not targeting innocent civilians. See you later. And they went into Rafah anyway. So they performed an airstrike on some senior Hamas leadership, I guess. They say that they killed 2 senior Hamas leaders. These were actually pretty high-ranking guys. And of course, where were they hiding? Were they hiding in a hole out in the desert someplace? No, they were hiding in and among the civilians. And so that strike ostensibly caused a fire to break out, which burned through part of this camp. Now, this camp was not, as far as I can tell, a designated safe zone. It was not one of the designated areas that Israel has said, we're not going to shoot there. It was a place where there were a bunch of civilians, but that's why the leadership was there using the civilians as human shields. Now, I want to give you the numbers that are being bandied about right now, and you need to understand where they're coming from. The news is reporting that at least 45 people have been killed in that strike, and they're showing some pretty spectacular pictures of giant bonfires and stuff. The number 45 people, though, you need to keep in mind that that number is coming from the Gaza Health Ministry. The same Gaza Health Ministry that's been exaggerating the numbers all along, that immediately said that 500 people died when a Hamas rocket went short and landed in the parking lot of a hospital, which probably killed a dozen or so people. And of course, the media breathlessly immediately started to parrot that line until it was proven that it was false. So the fact that the Hamas controlled Gaza Health Ministry is saying that 45 people were killed, I'd say take it with a grain of salt. I would even say take with a grain of salt the fact that a fire broke out because of this airstrike. Airstrikes don't typically make large fires break out because they're explosive in nature and they're very targeted. But knowing what we know about Hamas, knowing what we know even about the people in Gaza, the Palestinians there, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they started fires, burned up a bunch of things, wrapped some people up in sheets and carried them around and said, "Oh, they're all dead, they're all dead." And I mean, the term Pollywood is a thing because the Gazans have gotten very, very good at staging tragedies for the cameras. And so all I'm saying is it just happened. We don't know if it is real or not. We don't know if 45 people were killed or not. And what we do know is that the Israeli strike that hit and killed those two Hamas operatives in that area came less than one day after Hamas fired a barrage of missiles out of Rafah into Tel Aviv, causing the people in Tel Aviv to run to the shelters for the first time in like 4 months. And so of course, Israel is getting condemned all over the place. Erdogan of Turkey came out and said they're barbarians. The Israelis are barbarians. And it's like, really? You didn't have anything to say about October 7th. You didn't call those people barbarians. And so Israel doing its best to save civilian lives and to root out. I mean, it's like trying to, if you took butter and margarine and mixed them together and then try to pull them back apart, that's how difficult the job is that the IDF has right now, trying to kill all the Hamas people without killing any civilians, because they're mixed in with the civilians in a way that makes it virtually impossible not to kill civilians. And so they either have a choice: give up and lose the war, or and then ensure that there will be another October 7th someday, or you lay the guilt for any civilians that are killed at the feet of Hamas, because A, there wasn't a war before October 7th, B, Hamas doesn't have to hide among the civilians, and so the fault for any civilian casualties is on Hamas. It's not on Israel. And Israel is doing what it has to do. So here's another difference between Hamas and the IDF. When something like this happens, Hamas immediately, within minutes, proclaims that it's all Israel's fault. Israel, for its part, actually sends in lawyers to do an investigation to find out what really happened. Hamas doesn't need to know what really happened because, number one, they probably know, and it probably was not what they're saying. And number two, They just want more ammunition to use against Israel in the court of public opinion. And in that war, Hamas is winning. Hamas is winning. We just saw this last week that three countries, Spain and Norway and one other country, I forget, Netherlands, decided to recognize Palestine as a country. And my question is, okay, where is it? Where is Palestine? What are the borders that you recognized of Palestine? Well, one Spanish diplomat said, yes, the borders are from the river to the sea, which means that Spanish diplomat is saying they just recognized that Palestinians own all of Israel, and Israel as a Jewish nation state does not exist. This is why the Israelis are very upset with the Spaniards right now and are curtailing their consular services inside Israel. Now, I'm on my way to Israel tomorrow morning, and I will be there and I'll be reporting from there for the next week or so. If you have questions, you're going to have to email them to me, hotzoneholton@gmail.com. And if you would like to follow me and my work, you can go over to The Hot Zone here on YouTube with Chuck Holton. It's called The Hot Zone with Chuck Holton, and the Hot Zone podcast. You can also go to chuckholton.com and follow me, subscribe to, I'm putting up articles and photographs, and I'll be putting up some more information about what I found here in Cyprus, here in Cyprus today, over there at chuckholton.com. So you can go there, and please go donate to the Christian Broadcasting Network. You can go to cbn.com and donate and get a tax write-off for that. We are very happy to get those donations. It helps keep me in the field when you do that. So God bless you all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you when I get to Israel. Bye-bye.